80% of jobs here, they are looking for people that have license. If you do not come with your driving license from your home country, you would have to hold this license, this learner's permit, for a minimum. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. You guys, in this video I'm going to be discussing in-depthly the processes to get your driving license in Canada, because when I uploaded I think the last two videos I uploaded, I got a lot of questions. People kept on asking me, okay, what kind of license did I use, how did I do the process and all of that. So in this video I want to discuss it in depth, but I'm just going to be using my notes because the information is quite a lot, so that we don't waste our time. So I believe that if you're watching this video, it's either you are planning to travel to Canada, or you're already in Canada and you're looking into how to get your license, or you're just trying to get information about to get your license in Canada, which is very, very important, because I'll get into that later. But license is actually a very, very important matter in this country. Like, watched my previous vlog, I discussed some of the processes and why you need to come with your driving license from your home country before coming into Canada. But I'm still going to just touch it a bit because it's part of what I want to discuss in this video. That now is sort of like a continuation of my previous vlog. So the first thing you need to know is that if you are trying to get your license in Canada, I would advise that you come with your driving license. In fact, learn how to drive, perfect driving if possible, learn everything you need to learn about driving back from Nigeria, and then get your driving license before you start coming. The driving license I'm talking about is just a normal license. I'm going to put a picture on screen. It's just a regular license. It's not anything international, just a regular license that you know from Nigeria. Please get it. It is so important. So another thing is that driving license is of utmost importance in this country. I know I've said it a bit in this video already, but let me discuss the reasons. First of all, the first thing you need to know is that driving is one of the major means of transportation. I'm sure, I mean, it's obvious, but there are some places that are not accessible by like public transport. You need to have your own car. And then secondly, that's aside, if that is not enough to motivate you, secondly, not having a driving license could actually be the reason why you are not able to get certain jobs. It could be the only thing stopping you from getting the perfect job that you want to get. 80% of jobs here, they are looking for people that have license, driving license, not just class 7, I mean class 5. The process to get your license is not very difficult, but coming with your own driving license and of course learning how to drive back in your home country would ensure that at least you have a head start. You can already drive before you now start practicing to learn the rules of the road here. So moving on to the steps that you can take before getting your full driver's license, I'm going to discuss this in depth. This is what we're going to talk about. So the steps to get your driving license there are quite a few steps, but the first one is that as soon as you arrive, you're going to get your learner's permit. Learner's permit is only gotten after you've passed your knowledge test. That is the one I took in my vlog. I'm going to link the vlog here just in case you've not seen it, so you can also catch up with that. But the one that I wrote is the knowledge test. So just to touch up on the knowledge test, it's just a CBT test that is 50 questions, multiple choice. So you can pass by getting 40 out of the 50 questions correct. And I already said in my vlog, I got 40 questions on the dots, and that was how I was able to pass. But if you get anything less than 40, say 39, you're not going to pass. So you just need to get 40 or above to pass the exam. So it's just a regular test, but you need to study properly for it or you're not going to pass. Then after you've passed your knowledge test, to pass your knowledge test, there's a textbook that they're going to give you, and you need to study the book. It's just basically a test that checks how well you know the road rules and regulations and symbols and signs on the road, because there are a lot. So you need to learn all these things in order to pass, and all that is in a book that they will give you. But I'm going to link a PDF version of that book in my description box, so please check it out. You can access the PDF version on the site I'm going to put in my description box, so check it out. But if you are able to pass the test, you're going to undergo a medical eye screening right there and there. And after they are done with that, they will now issue you, okay, I have my paper here, they will issue you something like this, which is basically like saying that this is your temporary learner's permit, that this is what you can use before you are able to get I'm going to put it on screen. I have mine, but it's not here. They are going to give you a learner's permit, which looks like a driving license, like a regular driving license, but there are just a few more rules with this particular one. And also, when they issue you this paper, they're also going to give you this. This is the learner's permit sign that you have to put at the back of your car at all times. So if you are on learner's permit license, you have to keep this. Learner's permit is also called, I think, 7L, class 7L license. So if that is what you're using, you must always have this at the back of your car if you are driving. And then I'm going to list the rules for you and tell you the difference and why it is important for you to bring your license. I know I've already said it, but let me just like clarify further. So after you pass the knowledge test and you get this license, you cannot drive alone. Okay, you have to have somebody with at least a class 5. At least a class 5. If you are caught driving alone with this kind of license, you could be in serious trouble. Now, another thing to know or keep in mind is that you can't use any electronic devices. You can't answer phone, you can't have your Apple Watch or whatever. You cannot have any electronic devices at all. You cannot have drugs in your system. You cannot drink, of course. No, don't drink and drive or that. But if you are on this particular license, they can actually test you. Like if you look intoxicated or something and they test you and it is discovered that you have any alcohol in your system, your license could be suspended. I don't know, indefinitely, I'm not sure, but whatever the case, you cannot have any sign of drugs or alcohol in your system while with this particular learner's permit. That is one thing you need to keep in mind. You can't have any alcohol in your system. Let's talk about why you need to come with your driving license from your home country. So if you do not come with your driving license from your home country, you would have to hold this license, this learner's permit, for a minimum of 12 months. For a minimum of 12 months if you didn't come with your driving license and you have no driving experience already. But because I already came with a license from Nigeria and I have it with me, I am able to take my road test as soon as I feel ready to do it. So I don't need to hold this for a minimum of 12 months at all. I can go tomorrow and write my road test, but I'm not yet ready. That's why I'm not taking it. But if you do not have your driving license from your home country, you would have to drive with this for 12 months. That is 1 year. And if you are caught driving alone without a supervisor, or the other rules I told you, because there's also certain times that you cannot drive with this license. I think you can only drive between 5 a.m. and midnight. So this license has so many rules attached to it. So if you break any of them, you are in serious legal trouble. That is one thing you need to have in mind when you have this learner's permit. But if you are able to move on with to the other steps of getting your license, the rules are a bit better, just slightly better. So now remember that you have to come with your license already if you want to skip the 12 months. But if not, you're going to have to wait 12 months before you move on to the next step of getting your license. And like I said, employers nobody really rates this learner's permit license. Nobody rates it. So if you're looking for a job and you're saying you have this, people are not really going to, like, they won't rate it. It's not necessary. The one that you really need is the class, at least a class 7N, like the N sign. That is one that you really need. I'm going to talk about it next. That is the one that could even help you get a job. At least if you have that, you can now be talking about getting certain jobs that require you to drive. But if you have this, it's not really rated here. Step after your learner's permit is your road test for your class 7N license. Okay, so this is just basically a practical test where you have to drive and show your knowledge of the road signs and driving in general. But they will test you on certain things, on certain parameters, to make sure that you are following the rules and that you are roadworthy to drive. So this particular test is actually a bit complicated. Practically, you need to know how to drive. If you cannot drive, this is where you might have a challenge. That is why I talked about learning how to drive from your home country or from Nigeria before you even find yourself in Canada. That will save you some money, because right now I'm actually practicing to drive. So even if you can drive, I would still say that it is a good idea to just have some kind of practice here with some driving instructors, because they would be able to tell you what to look out for in your road test and how to pass it on the first try. Because if you fail the test the first time, you have to wait a certain amount of time, I think about 14 days before you are able to retake it again. And if you fail the second one, you might have to wait a longer time. I think about 3 weeks or so. I stand to be corrected, but you have to wait a longer time each time you fail the test. I think you can fail it once 14 days, fail it second time about 3 weeks or so, if I'm not mistaken. So you just have to try as much as you can to pass it on the first try. And if possible, even if you do know how to drive, like I said already, just see if you can still do some practice with driving instructors, which is what I'm doing now. Their driving has a lot of rules and they follow the rules very, very strictly. So that is why I'm currently practicing my driving skills, just to perfect it and go and take my road test. Then I can start driving. But if you do not come with your license already, you have to wait for the 12 months before you even get to this step. So I was able to skip the steps because I have my license. I hope this is all making sense and I'm not confusing you guys more. Anyway, moving on, if you've passed this particular road test, if you are able to pass it, they are going to issue you a N sign. I'm going to put it on screen. It's called it's like a green N, and they will give it to you. This is what you now put in place of this one. Now drive. I think you have more laxities with this one. You don't have to have a supervisor with you at all times, unlike the learner's permit that you must have somebody with class 5 with you at all times. Like if police stops you and you don't have your you don't have a supervisor with you, with this particular license, you're going to be in big trouble, like I already said. But with this particular N, you can actually drive 2 people. I think, yeah, you can have 2 people in the car and maybe a family member or something like that. You also have to keep this particular N license for about 24 months. This is the class 7. You need to keep it for 24 months. That's 2 years before you are eligible for the next step. So you can see that the steps are actually long. So it is better for you that you are able to come with a license so that you can skip some of the steps in order to just get your license quicker. The class 5 is the goal. So if you are in learner's permit for 12 months, it's a bit of time to. So after the 24 months is gone, like after you've driven for 24 months with the class 7N license, you are going to move on to take your class 5 road test. So that is the second road test that you're going to be taking. Now this road test is just to test you should be more advanced in your driving. You should know all the rules by now. Like they would not pardon you if you make any mistake. So by now you are considered almost an expert driver, so you should know all the rules. You should drive with confidence and all of that. The rules for this particular test are slightly different from the other one because by now you are expected to have known all of the major rules of driving and you are supposed to be an expert driver at this point. But if you do pass this particular one, then congratulations, you're going to be going on to the final step, which is to get your class 5 license, and you are officially a licensed driver, a completely licensed driver in Canada with class 5. And then you can go on to look for better paying jobs because a lot of jobs require you to have your class 5, and if you have your class 5, it's actually a big deal. So you will be able to get certain good jobs here with that kind of license. So you need to write your knowledge test. You're going to need certain things. So first thing you're going to need is 2 primary forms of identification. So you need to have one ID, maybe like your ID card from the province or whatever, and then a second ID, maybe your health card or your bank card, whatever. But you need to have 2 forms of identification to be able to write the knowledge test. That was one thing I noticed the day I went to write mine. There was a guy that came in and he did not even have up to 2 IDs. He gave them one and they kept requesting that he bring the other one. I think if you are not able to provide 2 IDs, you may not be able to write the test. You will not be able to write it. So that's one thing to keep in mind, just on the day of the test. And then another thing that you would require is basically payment for the test. Of course, it's not free, so you'd have to pay a token for the test. And then something else is that if you're under 19 years old, you probably need to go with a parent or a legal guardian. But if you're not living with them, I think that can be bypassed. But if you are living with your parents under 19, you are required to come with them for the test. And yeah, that's about it. So that is all for the driving steps and steps to get your license in Canada. I hope you found this video helpful. As always, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check my description box for the link to the knowledge test PDF book. So I hope that is helpful to you if you're preparing to come to Canada, or you're already here trying to prepare for your knowledge test and get your license here. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.